Hey everyone, Christian Bates with Longevity Power. Today I want to show you how to make ghee. Oh my, ghee! This is one of the best fats to consume. Grass-fed derived butter created ghee. This is clarified butter made a little bit more the Ayurvedic traditional way, in which some of those milk solids in the butter are just barely burnt, just barely caramelized to create a more butterscotch-like flavor instead of a lighter cooked clarified butter. Now why do ghee instead of coconut oil or instead of butter? Well, butter is great if you can handle the casein and lactose. I personally am sensitive to dairy. I'm sensitive mostly to the casein content. But I love ghee because to make ghee, we use a heat process to remove the milk solids away from the pure butter oil. The pure butter oil is the ghee. Now, coconut oil is also a great fat. It's a great saturated fat. It's a little bit firmer than ghee at room temperature in terms of those saturated fats that harden at a higher temperature. But there's a lot of things in ghee that are not in coconut oil, such as more vitamin K, or vitamin K period. Ghee is also higher in vitamin A and E and D. Ghee is rich in conjugated linoleic acids, or CLA, and these are fats that burn up really efficiently in the body. They're really great for your immune system, and they're fats that utilize well as energy and as well as how fats are deposited on your body. They're just a really great fat that is not as common in plant fats. Ghee we want to always derive from grass-fed butter. Pretty much anybody who's going to take the step to make ghee, or a company that's going to make ghee, chances are that they are doing that. They are getting organic, grass-fed butter derived. And if so, in other words, it's very rare for someone to actually be like, I want to be healthy and eat ghee, and then use factory farm style dairy butter. So what are a couple other reasons to make ghee? It tastes amazing. It is the flavor of butterscotch. The term butterscotch or butter scorch. So if you actually super burn like a little bit of butter, that can be actually the flavor base of butterscotch desserts, butterscotch candies. But if you just use ghee, which is just ever so slightly burned, it's just the milk solids get a little bit caramelized as we heat it, then we end up with a really amazing butterscotch flavor. You can make this into an ice cream. So instead of using cream for your ice cream, I'm sensitive to the casein content of cream. A lot of people are, maybe about half the population or more of the world definitely is. So you may just want to have your otherwise normally dairy-based recipes be based on ghee, and then you get an extra butterscotch flavor out of it, and it agrees with your body. You fuel your body with this amazing, efficiently burning, extremely nutritious, gut-healing style of fat, and there's no side effects. Now, if you are I know a lot of people who follow my work come from a vegan background, as did I. I was a vegan for many years. Taking a step towards more animal products can sometimes be like, ooh, should I do this? I haven't maybe had meat for a while. Well, ghee is a great stepping stone because it is a vegetarian product. It's not a carnivorous product, and you can always talk to your ghee makers or your butter manufacturers on how they do their thing, and then you just vibe with them and see if you like what's going on in terms of your ethic, your environmental stance, your animal rights stance, as well as your health stance. I think that ghee is probably the second best fat in the world for my body right now. The best fat is actually carnivorous fats and lard. Oh my god, he said lard. Isn't lard bad? Isn't ghee bad? Isn't all animal fats full of cholesterol that are going to harden your arteries? Well, it turns out that that's just nonsense. See, the cholesterol is associated, excess cholesterol is associated with arterial plaque and other conditions, but actually a lot of people who go on more of a cleansing diet end up with a deficiency in certain hormones, including cholesterol, and so you actually may need a therapeutic dosage of cholesterol. So you can get that from ghee for sure, and it's going to be, when you make ghee fresh, It's unoxidized. So the fatty acids and the cholesterol are unoxidized. And if you let that ghee sit out for weeks, yeah, it's eventually going to go bad, just like any other oil or any other more sensitive fresh product. So we're going to make our ghee as fresh as can be. All you need, oh by the way, this is ghee I made a few days ago. I keep it in the fridge. A lot of people actually don't keep their ghee in the fridge. Some people think that rancid ghee is good for you, at least topically. And that might have some truth in Ayurveda. Ghee is an Ayurvedic traditional product. In fact, in Ayurveda, ghee is considered like, ghee is kind of like the extract of the extract. So butter is like the extract of milk, and ghee is like the extract of butter. And because the fat content of human mother's breast milk is so important for a growing body, a growing baby, even as adults and even with another species, there's still this essence that we get. It's still similar to that really strong immuno-strengthening anabolic thing that we get as babies, but we can get it right now. Because chances are a lot of people weren't breastfed, a lot of people just have other than had like maybe the perfect nutrition as a child, so you might actually want some ghee to repair some damage that may have been done. So I made this ghee a special way. I'm going to make ghee real simple for you today, but this ghee is infused with colostrum and vanilla, so it smells like it's unlike, it's just unreal. I mean, it's like the ultimate aromatic vanilla butterscotch candy. And as you can tell, I've already consumed quite a bit of it. If you infuse your ghee with herbs, you will be using your ghee for recipes that are conducive to the herb. For example, if you infuse it with vanilla, you might not want to use this in a savory recipe. If you infuse your ghee with, say, garlic or other spices, then you might not want to use that in ice cream. So we're going to make a real simple all-purpose ghee today. You need a mason jar, some butter, a fine strainer, a stirrer, a pot, and a heat source. So this is Strauss Family Creamery butter. It's organic and it's grass-fed and it's local to me here in the San Francisco Bay Area. There's a company that makes ghee out here called Ancient Organics, and they use this butter. I'm a big fan of them, so if you ever wanted to just get your ghee direct, already made, then try that Ancient Organics brand. I think they're doing a lot. I mean, they like pray over their ghee and chant to it. It's like they take the Ayurvedic tradition to the nth degree. If you refrigerate your butter, it will be a lot easier to peel the wrapper off. And we'll start high heat in the beginning. One more thing you kind of need is a thermometer. It's not truly essential, but we want to keep our ghee not too much past 200 degrees Fahrenheit. In other words, we're going to boil our ghee, but we don't necessarily want to cook it, to like 300 or more degrees, because there are certain fats that will eventually break down with prolonged high heat. So the lower temperature, the better. But we do want to fully cook it so that we caramelize the milk solids and get that rich golden flavor. And by cooking it, we will fully separate the milk solids from the fats. If you were to just cook it briefly, like super briefly, there would still be a lot of butter milk solids within the fat that are kind of emulsified. And the only way to remove that in a more of a raw way would be to use a centrifuge. There is a company or two that uses a centrifuge to make raw ghee. I've found that their ghee is very rarely fresh and therefore starting to get real funky in flavor and maybe even oxidized or rancid. And when ghee starts to go off, like if you were to keep it out and let it get exposed to oxygen for a certain period of time, as you know, oxygen, heat, and light will degrade fats, then it's going to be changing in flavor, shall we say. It'll go from a fresh, sweet, buttery butterscotch flavor to more of a funky, like eat dead animal flavor, and I'm not a big fan of that. When you buy ghee in the store, hopefully it's refrigerated and has a recent packaging date. If the store is keeping the ghee in the grocery room temperature section, and maybe the ghee's been there for a while, you might want to order direct in that case, just in case that ghee is getting kind of old. Most ghees are not bottled in amber glass, so they're also exposed to some light. You want to treat your ghee, which is an oil, just like you would treat other oils. It's not necessarily as unstable as, say, flax oil, which will go off in like a day at room temperature, but it is more like coconut oil. Coconut oil is considered a stable oil, both for cooking as well as just for having around. But after, a short while, coconut oil will start to get that funky, like extra coconutty sour flavor, and that's when the fat is beginning to oxidize, and it's no longer as conducive. It might for your internal use, but it might be more perfect for external use. So if you ever have ghee that starts to go off, it might become just a perfect body butter, and then you just make fresh ghee for internal use. So I'm going to stick this thermometer here so that we can check on the temp. The ghee will begin to bubble because there's a little bit of water in the butter. And after maybe a half an hour, most of that or all of that water will evaporate, and you'll be left with just the oil and the milk solids. The milk solids some will float to the top, some will sink to the bottom. The ones on the bottom will burn slightly. They'll go from a light yellow color to a slightly brownish color. It is pretty easy to burn ghee if you just let it go on high for too long and forget about it. Then I've certainly burnt some ghee. Ghee that's just a little bit burnt is going to be great as a cooking oil, but ghee that's like super burnt, has a burnt flavor, you might just have to turn that into compost or something. So hopefully that doesn't happen to you. Although if you make enough ghee, these kind of things eventually happen. Alright, I love ghee for a number of other reasons. I mean, the reason ghee or cow butter is yellow is because of its vitamin A content. Other butters out there, like goat butter, is more white because it lacks that kind of carotenoid, which is the vitamin A constituents. Alright, so we'll let this go for a little bit. It will froth a little bit, and eventually you will see just some beautiful, beautiful golden brown oil. And now the milk solids have officially separated from the butter oil. Isn't that beautiful? Time to strain this. It smells like a movie theater and like an Ayurvedic bakery around here. Pour this. So good. Now, sometimes if a little bit of the milk solids end up getting in here, I might be picky and cook it one more time. So why don't we do that? Just to demonstrate, because most people who make ghee, they end up just eating the milk solids also because they don't have an issue with dairy, and so they'll use this stuff for all kinds of stuff. I mean, it would, if If I could eat it, I would. It's like cheese butter powder. But check this out. I decided to be real finicky today. I undercooked my ghee just slightly, which means that some of the milk solids didn't quite separate from the butter oil, so I ended up with ghee that had just a little bit of those white uncooked solids still in it, and I don't want that. I want like a really pure filtered ghee. I've even filtered ghee through coffee filters before, but that takes a while. It doesn't quite strain through that fine of a mesh very quickly. So I just popped this, I cleaned the pot and then popped the nearly finished ghee right back into the pan and just turned it up just for a couple minutes. And you can already see that the very last bit of milk solids are bubbling to the top and some are sinking to the bottom and will stick to the bottom of the pan. And so then when I strain it right back into a fresh mason jar, then we'll have like ghee that's truly casein free. Alright, we're going to do a second strain. So now you know how to make ghee and you know how to correct ghee if you ever undercook ghee. It needs just to be a little bit extra filtered. I know some people who, when they buy ghee, they'll actually cook it up anyways, just in case the ghee manufacturer didn't get all the milk solids out. As you can see, there's little specks on the bottom. That's just the last bit of milk solids. So now we have a true butter oil. As you can see, it's looking really clear and shiny. Now as soon as it cools, it will become opaque yellow, as does all fats. All fats maintain a more opaque color once they cool. For example, coconut oil is clear when it's warm, and then white. And then white when it cools. And cacao butter is like this color, golden, clear, and then when it cools, it becomes more white, off-white, opaque. And even olive oil, actually, if you were to freeze it, it would become more whitish in color. So I'm just gonna guzzle this now. Yeah. So good. So you can make so many things with this. I'm gonna actually make a treat. I'm gonna mix this up with goji joy and a little sweetener, just to have a little like quick treat on my way out to the gym. And there's all kinds of recipes I've made with this on longevitypower.com and our YouTube channel, which is it goes by my name, Christian Bates, but the name, you know, in the URL is Irresistible Health. Let me know, what are your favorite things to make with ghee? Let me know in the comments section below. And yeah, man, what would you like me to make with this ghee? Because I'll make something therapeutic. Everything we make, whether it's a product or a recipe at Longevity Power, is designed to up-level health. I mean, no fluff, right? Like, this is all about therapeutic transformation every day.